What's going on, man? It's the Keep Pushing Journey of Faith show where men mentor men. Not only are we mentoring men, but we're mentoring your whole family. Look, we'll even mentor your dog, your cat, and even your pet fish you got floating around that little fish tank, man. It's all good. Anyone who needs mentoring, we are here for you. And today, I have a special interview with a special guest on the show. Man, look, I got DJ Wado from the Wado Radio Show on the line with me today, man. DJ Wado, how you doing today?
Man, I'm great, Dwayne, and thank you for having me, bro. And I just want to share this with you, bro. Like, I'm really, what you're doing with your radio show is something that's near and dear to me, because I'm a part of a men's ministry called King Movement.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of what we try to do is mentor younger guys and just help guys grow into their personal relationships with the Lord. So, man, when you reached out to me about doing this, and I kind of saw what you had going on over here.
Yes, sir.
It really just struck a chord with me, man. And, I just want to big you up for the work you're doing, bro.
Wow, man. I really appreciate that. That catches me off guard right there, man. I really appreciate that, because sometimes in this business, we can do what we're doing and we can post our flyers, we can post our shows, and we may not know how many people are listening or how many people are watching. But we do know one thing, that God said do this irregardless of how many people respond, irregardless of, what kind of love you're getting from everybody. He said, preach the gospel. So our main objective, man, is just to push his word, push his message, try to help men be better men, because we really believe that by making better men, our communities, our families, job life, everything is just going to get better, man. So I really appreciate that, man. Thanks.
And no problem, man. And, I was actually listening to a sermon yesterday, and one of the points that the pastor was making was that sometimes when God puts something on our hearts, he's putting it on our hearts for us to initially just be faithful with it.
Yes, sir.
So, you may be doing something and being super faithful with it and feel like, man, I don't know how many people are listening to this, or how many people are checking me out, or how many people are coming to my church or supporting my business. And the Lord may just want you to be faithful in that season, so that he can expand your territory later on after he knows you're doing this for the right reasons and you're faithful and all of that, bro. So, man, just keep your head to the plow, brother. Like, you're doing some amazing work, bro.
Man, I appreciate it, man. I got people like you to look up to, man. I'm watching you too, and I'm seeing how you're doing it and seeing what you're doing. I'm like, all right, man, he's doing great things. I gotta make sure I step my game up, man. So I really appreciate you. Hey, look, take the time to go ahead and let my audience take us down an evolutionary path of DJ Wado from start to now, from your beginnings to now. Take us down that path.
Oh, man. Let me give you the truncated version so that the whole this whole interview isn't just that. But I grew up in Columbus, Ohio. And I grew up going to church. But I was kind of one of those kids, man, that I was in church, but I didn't really have a personal relationship with the Lord while I was in church. Mm-hmm. So my parents raised me, quote unquote, the right way. But I was also heavily into hip-hop music. I always loved music.
Yes, sir.
And when I went away to college, Howard University, I learned how to DJ. And, I started DJing clubs and parties and, stuff for the different fraternities and sororities on campus and all of that kind of thing.
Yep.
And I actually had a really good thing going, man. I did some celebrity parties with people like Alicia Keys and Busta Rhymes and DMX, back when they were, kind of popping in that era. Alicia Keys was actually just getting started then. And I literally got saved the day after I graduated from college, man.
Wow.
A friend of mine handed me a book called Revelation, and it was by Mason.
Yeah.
And, that book moved me, man, and it was simple. His testimony was basically he had everything. And he had all the stuff that I was trying to get at that time. He had money, he had fame, he had power, he had respect. And when he got all those things, he realized it wasn't enough. And he gave his life to the Lord. And so I said, man, why do I need to continue down this path? If he got it all and he found out it wasn't enough, I need to just try to get what he got now. Yeah. And that was the Lord. And so gave my life to the Lord, obviously. And I was in the process of moving to New Jersey. I had taken a corporate job out here, and so I basically stopped doing music for a while.
Oh wow! Okay.
I wasn't aware of Christian rap at all.
Okay.
And so it was actually a blessing because it gave me time to really get seasoned in my faith and, just develop a real relationship with the Lord that had nothing to do with music and my gift. And I started finding out about Christian rap, obviously, and, I had a youth pastor at the time that really encouraged me to, basically start getting back into music.
Yes, sir.
And so in 2006, the Radio Radio Show was born.
Okay.
And I didn't know anything about podcasting, but I just knew it was a way for me to do a radio show the way I wanted to do it. And so I basically had a similar format to how I have now. I played music and interview artists, and I started adding my DJ mixes into it. And as you get better at radio, you get better at programming and imaging and all of that stuff. But it was the same basic concept that it is now. And I started it, man, because this music that was really blessing me and discipling me in a way. None of my friends had heard of Lecrae. None of my friends had heard of The Truth.
Right.
None of my friends had heard of R. Swift. And so, I really wanted to promote that music to them. And, now, man, we're on, 20 or 30 radio stations.
Yes, sir.
And, the podcast does well every month. And, we got a website with news and YouTube channel and all of that stuff. But, it's still the same basic thing, man.
Yes, sir.
Music that's really blessing me. I'm just trying to share it with everybody else.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. You said something interesting, man. You said the book was written by Mace. And first of all, I grew up in the era of DMX, Busta Rhymes, Foxy Brown, Mobb Deep. I grew up that when I was a freshman in high school, that's what I was listening to. Rough Riders had kind of just really hit the map and was really going hard. And I remember when Mace dropped off and kind of was Ghost. And at the time, it's amazing because it's a transparent moment right here, and I'm gonna be truthfully honest. We used to clown him for that. Young, kind of naive. Yeah. I didn't grow up in a Christian background. We had no idea what was going on, and we couldn't understand how a man with all this money and this fame just drops off the face of the earth. And then when we found out it was a religious aspect to it or overtone to it, we really kind of clowned that. But now, many years later, as I've grown and as I've started my journey of faith to understand, I understand kind of what happened. I understand how coming to Christ can make you change your life like that. So to hear you say that you read that book and it changed you, now I look back and I think, man, I was really young and dumb at that time.
And I read it in one setting.
Wow.
I started reading it and I couldn't put it down.
Wow.
Because when I tell you I was in the industry, I was in it, bro. I've done listening parties at Howard University for Mobb Deep.
Yes, sir.
For Busta Rhymes, for Ashanti when she had the #1 record in the country. Herb Gotti spinning on my 1200 technique. You know what I mean? I was, I've opened up for DJ Clue.
Yes, sir.
Before,
you were in it.
You know what I mean? Bro, I was in it. So this hit home to me on a level because, again, your show is, one of your focuses is mentoring and stuff like that. It brought everything back to how my parents had raised me. You know what I mean? It was like they longed for me to have this deep relationship with the Lord, but for whatever reason, it just didn't connect with me at that point in time. But seeing him going through what he went through and giving up what he gave up to follow the Lord, that made sense to me because I was chasing that at that time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I was chasing everything this dude had. Wow. I wanted a 600 bent. You know what I mean? I wanted to be able to perform in front of thousands of people. Yes. I wanted to have fly girls and dress the way he dressed. Mace was I'm not gonna say he was as big as Drake.
Right.
Because that's not quite the right comparison.
Sure.
He was big, man.
Right. Absolutely.
He was big, bro.
Yes, sir.
When that album came out, when that Harlem World album came out, bro, he was huge. He was huge, man. And it just was what it was. You know what he was like? He was like remember that year Fetty Wap was super hot? 2015,
yes.
Fetty Wap was super hot.
Yep.
That's how Mace was that. when his album came out, he owned that year, man.
I remember.
He owned it.
Yes, sir. I remember.
He owned it.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, that's amazing, man. And man, the Lord works in mysterious ways, and He puts people or situations He puts them in your life at the right time when He knows that, okay, this is the moment where this needs to happen to change his life, man. So, amen, brother.
Yeah, and it was, I was trying to be truncated so you leave out some details, but the person that gave me the book is actually a Christian rapper. His name is Osaze Murray. He's a minister. He does campus ministry at Bowie State with the Navigators now.
Yes, sir.
But he has been trying to minister to me for 2 years.
Wow.
I mean, he was inviting me to Bible studies and just was just a friend, man. And none of that stuff connected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he gave me that book. The Lord letting me give me that book, bro, and that changed my life.
Wow.
Changed my life, bro. Changed my life.
Wow. Man, big up to him for not quitting on you, man, and sticking to it and really just finding out.
Literally 2 years. And
yeah.
Look, man, he's still a friend.
Yes, sir.
He's a mentor to me to this day. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going through something, like real talk, bro. He's one of those people, one of the first people that I'll call and say, yo, I need your advice on this, G.
Oh, man. That's awesome, man. That's really awesome.
To this day.
Man. Hey, I'm telling you, man, God works. God is great, man. If y'all don't know God, you tune into the show right now. Maybe this is your calling. Maybe this is your awakening. If you're tuned into this interview right now, wake up. God is here for you. He can change your life in major, major ways. All you got to do is give him a chance. Let him in your heart, man, and he'll take over.
Amen.
Hey, man, so look, your tagline is, it's more than music, it's ministry. Talk to us about how that particular line became the signature for your ministry. What's the meaning behind that?
Well, I was from an artistic standpoint, I've been heavily influenced by Hot 97.
Yes, sir.
The radio station.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And their tagline when I first started the way the radio show was Hot 97 where hip hop lives. It's still their tagline to this day.
Yep.
Like they've never really changed it. And one of the things that I realized was that is so associated with their brand. You know what I mean? Like you can almost ask anybody if you say anything about Hot 97, they'll say two things. Funkmaster Flex, where hip hop lives, and they probably, if they live in New York, they know 800-239-797 by heart. They're calling them. You know what I mean? So I knew I needed a strong tagline, and I wish I had something deep to tell you, but I just kind of thought about what I wanted this to be, and I just said, man, this is ministry. So this is more than music, it's ministry.
Absolutely.
And I just ran with it, man, and it's been the tagline since day one. You know, because the truth is, bro, like, that's what I started this for.
Yes, sir.
I started this to hopefully be a blessing to other people and introduce them to artists and music and their testimonies associated with that could really help bless and change somebody's life. And to me, even though it's radio or podcasting or whatever the case may be, that was ministry to me.
Yes, sir.
You know, that was a form of ministry to me. You know, for some people, ministry is going to a soup kitchen and serving people.
Yes, sir.
Or, whatever, man. It's going to the hospital and praying for people. Or it's, serving someone communion. Or it's teaching a Sunday school lesson, right? Like, there's a lot of different forms of ministry. But for me, in the context of this show, the whole ministry, the whole Wado Radio team, what we do with the website, all of that stuff, it's not just about the music. There's a message behind this, and there's a mission that we're on, and that's to see people's lives change, and that's see people come to the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ, and
yes, sir,
and hopefully grow in their faith.
Absolutely, man. And you're doing it big, man, and you're doing it very well. Not only are you playing a lot of music, spinning a lot of Christian hip hop and allowing the artists to spread their testimony, but you're doing the interviews, man, every week, sometimes multiple times a week. It seems like you drop a new interview and you're interviewing everybody. And as I listen to these interviews, you really get to connect with these artists on a deep level. You really get to understand them. I mean, all y'all got to do is go by and check out Wado's YouTube page, man. He's got videos up there galore, and you just start watching them. Just start watching the different videos of the interviews and him spreading his testimony, him spreading his message, man. And you're gonna get something out of it. And so your ministry is doing what you designed it to do, man. And so I understand. It's more than music, it's ministry, man, because I really feel that from you, man. I really feel you pushing God really hard, pushing the gospel really hard through your ministry, the Wado Radio Show, man. So I appreciate that.
And well, thank you, man. I definitely appreciate that, bro.
Yes.
Definitely, man. That's the goal.
Yes, sir. And on social media, here's another way that I really, you blessed me the other day, man. Like, you posted a post, and it was titled, "Last 10 Years of My Life." Now, just kind of a quick interview into this, right? So I've been married since I've been 18. I'm 33 years old now, and I've been through I've been through a lot with my wife. We've been through a lot of things. I mean, as you can imagine, being married 2 days after graduating high school until now,
sure.
3 kids and all that. So you listed a few things, and some of these things I connected with, like, spot on. I mean, you have my grandfather passed away, a church steals $10K from me, which, I'm not there yet. I don't want the church to steal from me, but I'm not at that point. But right there, my wife and I have 2 miscarriages, friends steal business ideas from me, big financial problems, marriage challenges, wife and I sharing a car for almost a year. Let me tell you, me and my wife are sharing a car right now. We've been sharing a car for about 2.5 months, man. My little 01 Dakota is sitting in my driveway with a bad valve right now. So when I saw this list, I was thinking to myself, man, here's a guy who's got a lot going on. He's really successful, but I can connect with him. He's been through some things that I'm going through. And if he's where he's at now, celebrating the Lord and happy and, just in good spirits, I know I can make it through these times. Why has it become important for you to be so transparent about your trials and tribulations in your life?
Well, it's 2 things. One, just on a personal level, the devil has no power.
Yes, sir.
When I can share those things openly and honestly with people, So that's kind of the selfish thing. Like, you go through certain things, right? And it's like, sometimes you feel ashamed because you're like, man, I don't want to share this with people because whatever, you believe whatever lies the devil's putting in your head about it, And so he has power over you when you can't discuss these things.
Wow.
And I got to a point where I said, you know what, like my close friends, this didn't surprise any of them. This didn't surprise my family. They knew all of this stuff. But now it's like people I don't even know are aware of some of the challenges I've had. Mm-hmm. And it's like now the devil has no power over me for that.
Wow.
But secondly, and I really feel like this is more important, when I said it was a little selfish, to be honest, but I think this is more important. It can encourage and inspire other people, such as yourself, and many others who are going through similar things to say, dang, man, if Wado can get through this, I know I can get through this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
If he can bounce back from a church still at $10K from him, I know I can get through this. If him and his wife had 2 miscarriages, I know me and my wife can get through this. If Wado had to share a car with his wife for a year, I know I can get with. Like, listen, man. Listen, bro. We all go through this stuff, but what the devil doesn't want us to do is actually start to talk about it.
Wow.
Because once we start to talk about it, it's much easier for us to invite the Lord into the situation to help us work through these issues.
Wow.
But as long as we keep it pent up inside of us, it's just you versus the devil.
Wow.
And the reality is, sometimes you win that battle, sometimes you don't. But when you invite God into it, you win every time. So, I mean, listen, bro, I wish I had some deep whatever in terms of what actually prompted me to share it. The reality is, I took that picture in the parking garage of the hospital that my dad was in.
Okay.
We were walking in. I turned to my wife. I said, I need you to take a picture of me in the middle of this parking garage. This is just be a dope picture for Instagram. And she took the picture, and it was one shot. Like, she didn't even sit there and take like 6, 7 pictures, choose one that she just took it, whatever. And I started editing it, man. And I started thinking about what was I going to put as the caption. And all I kept thinking about was, and I think it was because of the message on the sweatshirt. You know, the Lord just literally brought back all this stuff that I had been going through these past 10 years. And I actually started crying.
Oh, wow.
Just thinking about some of it.
Yes, sir.
Some of it was hurtful to relive it. Some of it was just tears of joy that, man, I actually got through that. And I'm much better on the other side. And I just said, man, you know what, man? It's time for me to share this. Because most people that really get down with my ministry have no idea I've been through all of this stuff.
Yes, sir.
Maybe some of it, but, you know, the first miscarriage, we shared that with some people. I mean, a lot of people didn't know about the second one. The one thing I missed putting in there is my wife was suffering from palpitations really bad.
Wow.
About 4 years ago. I mean, it felt like we were going to the hospital every week.
Yes, sir.
Trying to figure out what was wrong with her. And it got so bad that I actually stopped doing radio for about 5 or 6 months.
Wow, okay.
You know, yeah, like I was gonna quit.
Man.
I was just like, man, maybe I just need to figure out something else, man. Maybe this life we're living is so stressful. Me traveling, trying to build this business, whatever. I was ready to give it up.
Wow.
And the Lord confirmed it to both of us. Like, nah, you need to keep going.
Yes, sir.
You know, because this was right after I had the situation with the church. I did a concert with the church, and basically what we had agreed upon in terms of how we want to split the profit, they didn't live up to.
Right.
So we were dealing with that. That was the 10K, you know, and that was actually kind of conservative, to be honest. It was actually a little bit more than that, but, you know, around it. And so, I mean, it's just so much, bro.
Yes,
it's
sir.
It's so much stuff that we've gone through. And when I took that picture, I was just like, man, I'm still here. Like the devil's throwing all these punches at me.
Yep.
And I'm still here. I'm still pursuing God. And I have a better relationship and a better appreciation for the Lord now than I did before I went through all of that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, so.
Man, one of the things I say, man, is like, the things that you've gone through, some of those things I can relate with, some of them I can't, but the enemy people have to realize the devil, as we get stronger in Christ, so does he. He gets stronger. Now, he can't win, right? God has beaten everything he's going to throw at us. However, as we get stronger in our faith, he still knows what buttons to press. He still knows those sneaky things he can do to try to really detract us from God. And you can see through your testimony that he really is like hitting you big time, really trying to push your buttons, man. So,
hey, so let me share this with you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Right when I was about to post it, I started feeling in my spirit. I said, man, the minute you post this, the devil gonna come at you even harder. Because now he's gonna try to discredit everything that you're saying.
Yep.
You know, and I thought about that, and I said, you know what? You can't be afraid, because if you're afraid, you're still giving him the power.
Yes.
You just gotta share this. You know, whoever it blesses, and just, you know, stay in the arms of the Almighty and let him protect you through whatever storm the devil got brewing for you. You know what I mean? Because listen, bro, like I said, he does not want us talking about these things. He doesn't want us sharing these types of things with one another, having these conversations, because once that happens and we allow the Lord to get into the midst of what we're doing, he has no power whatsoever.
Wow.
He can't win that battle at all. There's no chance.
Man, let me tell you something.
There's no chance, bro. It's like, listen, man. It's like me trying to play Steph Curry one-on-one, but then I pop up and I bring Michael Jordan and we playing Steph Curry 2-on-1. Steph Curry got no chance against that. But against me, he can beat me every time.
Yep.
Now, I'm not calling Steph the devil. I don't want nobody
that.
But I'm just the analogy, you know.
Man, let me tell you, you ministered to me right now. Like, the whole concept of keeping it inside of us and not sharing it, and that giving the enemy, the devil, power over us is speaking to me right now, bro. Like, you're challenging me, God's challenging me, man. There are some things that I haven't shared, even though I have this platform. There are some things that I haven't shared, and I'm not sure why, but you're telling me right now, and you're speaking to me that if I hold on to it, He still got that power.
Well, here's the thing. Everything isn't to be shared
right
in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because the reality is, if I would have shared some of these things while I'm in the moment of going through them, it can cause a little bit more harm than good, because it's not a testimony yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like you can kind of confuse people. So, like, for instance, if I shared in the moment with everybody publicly, man, this church just ripped me off for $10,000.
Gotcha.
First and foremost, everybody's gonna be able to figure out who the church is because they know I just did a concert with them.
Yeah, I got you.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you know what I mean?
It's like starting that drama when it don't need to be that.
Exactly. But this is where your inner circle comes in. The people that's close to you, the people that you're tight with, because they can walk you through these things through prayer, whatever the case may be, cover you, all of that stuff, giving you godly counsel, godly wisdom.
Yes, sir.
So it's like sometimes you do want to share these things, but you just got to figure out what's the appropriate audience to share them.
Yes, sir.
Like these things that I put, those 10 things, these are things that we've gone through.
Right.
Like, I'm on the other side of that. So I can share that with you now and say, hey, man, this is my testimony now. When I was going through it, the inner circle knew, but my pastor knew. Some of the older deacons in the church knew.
Yep.
Some of the associate ministers knew. My mentors knew.
Yep.
But it wasn't time for public yet, because God hadn't done what He was going to do to get me through it yet.
Man.
So, don't feel bad if you don't share everything, man. Everything ain't for everybody. But,
I got you, man. That makes sense. And once again, giving me some good tutelage over the air, man. And I appreciate that. I hope everybody was tuned in, man. If not, play this thing back and listen to them again, man. But man, I appreciate that, man. Let me get a little let's get a little personal. Let's get a little fun with this interview. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in my man cave, or I'm driving down the road, and I'm listening to you mix on the tables. What are you trying to convey to me as I listen to you do your craft? What are you trying to convey? What are you trying to push over the air to me?
Yeah, so I think it's two things. I think it depends on the mix. But one, look, man, I want you to enjoy the music.
Yes, sir.
So I want you to play good music. But secondly, I always try to make sure that in that music, there's some music that's talking about the gospel of Jesus Christ. So one of the things that I realized is I have a very diverse audience that listens. There's some secular radio stations that air my show. There's some Christian radio stations that air my show.
Yes, sir.
There's some Christian hip-hop radio stations that air my show. So each one of those stations has different audiences, plus my core fan, my podcast listeners. So I try to keep all of those different people in mind when I play music. So sometimes that's why you may hear me use a secular instrumental.
Yep.
On top of, underneath a Christian rap acapella, because, hey man, that's going to catch the ear of, someone listening on one of those secular radio stations that happens to turn it down and say, what's this?
Yes,
so,
sir.
it's always the gospel. It's always ultimately Jesus that I want you to know about and hear about. I'm just willing to kind of experiment a little bit in terms of how to get there. And truthfully, man, for people, if they go back and listen to the very first episode of the show, my very first intro song to the show was the guy that gave me the Mace book. It was him freestyling over a Jim Jones beat for Ballin'. Remember when Ballin' was hot? Ballin'! He did an intro song for me over that beat. And it was that same thing in mind. I said, look, a lot of my friends have never heard Christian rap.
Yes, sir.
I was like, let me give them something dope over a beat that they already respect.
Awesome.
So that's really what it is, bro. Just trying to get people to by any means necessary, hear the message of salvation.
Yes, sir.
And of course, man, as a DJ, I take great pride in my DJ ability. So I try to get creative, man. I try to get very creative in terms of how I mix these records and my transitions and all of that. And I use wordplay sometimes, and I try to do stuff that you're not going to expect. Yeah. I mean, truthfully, man, I try to do stuff that makes you want to send me a tweet and say, man, you're killing it right now.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Because I know if you're paying that close attention to what I'm doing DJ skills why you're going to hear the message.
Yep.
So,
slide it right in there on you. That's awesome, man. All right, so look. Yeah. Okay, I know I'm not sure how you see yourself, but for me, I consider you a pioneer in Christian hip hop. I consider you, like, when I started listening to Christian hip hop, you were there, right? I don't go all the way back to Cross Mover, although I know about them thanks to you. I appreciate that. Thanks to your lessons, right? I didn't really grow up with Cross Mover and all. I kind of came in a lot later in the game. And so I see you as a pioneer. So this next question I have for you, it may be a little challenging, but I really want to know how you feel about it, because I really feel that you are really doing it big for the Christian hip hop community, and I'm a big advocate of Christian hip hop. I mean, that's my genre. When I first started radio, I was trying to get into other genres, but God kept putting Christian hip hop in my way, and then I just said, you know what, God, if you keep doing this, I'm just gonna grab it and run with it. And so what I want to know is, talk to us about how you see and view Christian hip hop's impact on the community now, and what do you feel Christian hip hop, where do you feel it's going, what do you feel it's going to grow into in the future?
That's a good question, bro. I think right now I think it's kind of like the book of Judges, where it said everyone just kind of did as they saw fit.
Yes, sir.
I think that's what you see. Now, I don't think everything is all bad like it was in Judges, because, every time in the book of Judges that everybody did what they saw fit, people fell into sin, and they had to send, a judge to kind of come and set things straight and rescue the children of Israel. Like, I don't know if it's that bad, but I do think everybody's just kind of doing their own thing and trying to figure it out. And I think there's been a couple of things that have happened. I think Lecrae has been the biggest thing in the genre really since he dropped Rebel.
Yeah.
And I think when he went into a new direction, it made people rethink a lot of stuff that they had taken for granted before.
Yeah.
Once he dropped Church Clothes and kind of started doing some different stuff there.
Yeah.
I think at the same time, right, music streaming has totally changed the business model of Christian hip hop.
Yes, sir.
And just to simplify it for the listeners, prior to Spotify and Apple Music really taking off, if you were an independent Christian rapper and you sold 3,000 or 4,000 albums on iTunes, right? And you could probably make $30,000 to $40,000 in sales through TuneCore, based off of that, based off of the CD sales for full CDs plus singles that people would buy.
Yep.
And then on top of that, if you were touring, and you did 20 to 40 shows a year, and let's say you made $1,000 each show with your honorarium plus merch, you made a nice living, and you had enough money to really reinvest back into your project and really put together a quality project. Now what's happening is you basically take away a big chunk of that record sale money because everybody's streaming, and the revenue is not the same from streaming as it was from CD sales.
Yep.
You have a lot of artists are struggling financially. They're not saying it publicly because, again, everything's not for public consumption.
Right.
But just as a friend to a lot of these, I'm just trying to tell as many fans as possible, like, please buy CDs of your favorite artists.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to be able to continue to put out the same quality of music and of art as they have in the past unless you buy it.
Yep.
Like, people struggling out here. It's tough.
Yes, sir.
So I think you got that. And then I think, obviously, when someone like Lecrae makes a move the way that he's made, I think it's fractured some things, and I know the touring circuit is different, you know, in a lot of ways. Like it's churches aren't booking as many national Christian rappers as they have in the past.
Yes, sir.
You know, a lot of churches are going the local route with people that they know and stuff like that.
Yep.
So that's affecting stuff as well. So there's just a lot happening, man. And you know, what I've tried to do is just stay faithful. The Lord has blessed me on a lot of levels, bro. Like, you know, I can tell you this past 2 years have been the best years of my ministry ever, man.
Awesome.
You know, on a lot of levels.
Yes, sir.
Exposure financially, and even just peace of mind with my family. You know, it's been amazing for me.
Yes, sir.
But I know for a lot of other people, this has been a bumpy transition, and a lot of people are trying to figure it out. And some people, truthfully, I talk to some artists and I get concerned because they don't even understand why some things are the way that they are. You know, and so, you know, part of what I've been trying to do behind the scenes is help educate people.
Yes, sir. Hey,
man, this is what's happening. You got to adjust a little bit differently, you know. So, yeah, man, it's a lot going on. I don't know if that was the answer you were looking for, but that's, you know, that's some of what I'm seeing right now.
Awesome. I mean, I totally understand. I mean, I think that Christian hip hop, I mean, man, it's got its place. I mean, hip hop is a culture. It's a movement. It's a way of life. And Christian hip hop is not going to go anywhere. I think, like you said, it's just going. I look at it kind of just as hip hop period. When it first came out, there was like some hard times, and then now, you know, I mean, it's just a way of life. And so I think it's the same thing. It's just, you know, developing itself.
I think what you're getting ready to see, in my opinion, over the next couple of years, you're going to see who's really called to this and who's not.
Yeah.
Because I think for a while, you could see certain things, like you could see the success of like a Reach Records and say, man, I need to get in this.
Yeah.
You know, because financially, this could pop off for me. And I think because it's not as easy to pop off financially, or seemingly it's easy, it was never easy, but seemingly it's easy to pop off financially, I think you're going to see who's really called to this.
Yes, sir.
Because, listen, man, you know, I mean, you saw the post I put up, but I grinded for a long time before I would say I was able to really efficiently fund a lot of what I'm doing. And I don't want people to think I'm balling. I mean, listen, man, I drive a 2004 Honda Odyssey. Like, all right. I'm not balling. We haven't bought a house yet, so you know what I mean.
Yep.
But it's a lot of work that goes into this.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean.
Yes,
so,
sir.
you know.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That. I mean, again, you're reaching me, and I know you got to reach other people, but again, that just shows me, like, you know, because as I'm looking at you and seeing what you're doing, it's easy for me to think, man, why am I not doing that? Why am I not getting that interview or this interview? But you put in that work. You put in that work and prove to God that this is where your heart is. And now he's blessing you. Now the fruits of your labor are starting to come to fruition. And so it's just a constant reminder, man, just to stay in there, keep the course, keep doing the hard work, keep doing what God has got you doing. If God says do this, do it diligently. And then when he opens that door for you, you know what happened? Like this interview, like I just started radio like 2.5, 3 years ago. I would have never imagined interviewing DJ Wado. You know what I'm saying? D-Bake on the Keep Pushing Journey Faith show, interviewing DJ Wado. This is huge. But I really believe it's a part of just being diligent and doing God's work. And now he's blessing me as I continue to prove to him that, you know, I am loyal and I will do what he says. And I really have him in my heart. So, man, just keep doing what you're doing, brother. I mean, you're doing it big. We're watching you. We're learning from you. We're growing in Christ. You're doing it. You know, the kingdom building process is a team effort. And you're definitely part of that team, and we all are, and so we need everybody, and so I really appreciate what you're doing, man.
And thank you for that, brother. Thank you, man. Yeah, just, you know, man, here's the thing, man. You see all the interviews I get, but you don't see all the people that tell me no either.
Really?
You know what I mean?
People telling you no?
Man,
what?
Listen, bro. Listen. You know, I mean, not so much Christian rappers.
Sure.
So much, but you know, when I step outside the genre, you know, I'm new to a lot of those people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, So I've been fortunate, man. Like I had Kurt Franklin on my show before.
Mm-hmm.
I had Al Sharpton on my show before.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Broussard on numerous times. He's a friend. Allen Houston, former NBA All-Star. Like I've had people like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's been other people that I've reached out to that, like I've been trying to get T. Woodley on my show. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And we haven't really been able to connect. Andre Ward, I would love to get him on.
Mm-hmm.
These are Christians who are in culture, who are doing some amazing things.
Yep.
So I would love to talk to them. But I mean, listen, bro. It's one of those things, man. Like, in this business, you gotta have thick skin.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes, man, you gotta be willing to step outside your comfort zone. So, I mean, listen, man. When I first started,
mm-hmm.
I remember like going down to Philly the first time I interviewed some of the guys from Cross Movement. Everyday Process was having a release party. And I remember going down there and having my stuff and asking everybody for interviews. And Ambassador just wouldn't interview with me that night. You know what I mean? And it's like he's a friend now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, but and that was like the big one. Like that was like out of everybody, and it's no offense to everybody else, but out of everybody, he's like, that's the dude you really want to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me no. But you can't get discouraged.
Yeah.
You gotta you gotta keep going, man. And so
Absolutely, man. Hey,
it is what it is, man. So I get it. I get it.
I appreciate that transparency right there, because I mean, again, it just it goes to show you that nothing worth having comes easy. You know what I mean? And you got to keep pushing, you got to keep grinding, you got to keep doing the Lord's work, and eventually, man, He'll open the doors for you, man. So I appreciate that. Look, I got one last question for you before I let you go, man. I really appreciate you taking this time, and I know you got a family and you got work in the morning, you got to do your ministry and everything. More Than Music, Part 1, the mix dropped in 2014, right? And I was watching the video, and you said something at the end. You said, and this is part 1. You said this is part 1. So if it's part 1, there's going to be a part 2. So my question is, when is part 2 coming?
Man, it's a good question, man. I was actually talking to my brand manager Jody yesterday. He does like all my graphics and video stuff. And he's like, bro, man. He's like, man, you so overdue for a mixtape. I was like, I know, man. I was like, we just got so much other stuff going on. It's like I've been doing a lot of live DJ events. Mm-hmm. I've been blessed to do that. And obviously, we've been cranking these interviews out, both video and audio.
Yep.
And so it's like, I want to do another tape. I really do. Like, I even actually thought about doing an album. Mm-hmm. And I had actually started working on it. But it's like, I don't know, man. Like, right now, the Lord He's showing me there's a lot of fruit.
Yes, sir.
Coming in this interview space that we're in right now. And
mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know, man. I have something else that I've been praying about, another idea that is kind of like a mixtape, kind of like an album. Mm-hmm. And so we'll see what the Lord does.
Yes, sir.
But I really, like, if I do it, I don't want to do it just to do a project. Like, I really want to do it so that it helps other people as well. And not even just, not even just like the listeners, but even the artists. Mm-hmm. So like, probably if I do another music project like that, it would probably be something with up and coming artists, to try to help them get a platform. And because that's one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about now is just making sure that we're providing support and help for the next generation of artists.
Yes, sir.
And I really haven't done a lot of stuff locally in New York and New Jersey, because I've been so focused on, traveling and doing
mm-hmm.
events and stuff like that. And I'm really like, man, I feel like this New York area is the largest city in the country.
Yep.
And I'm like, outside of Andy Mineo, there's not really a lot of artists that have a national impact.
Mm-hmm.
Now some of the artists from New York, they hate when I say that, but it's true. It's like I can't lie about it. Like, if you ask the average Christian rap fan, to name an artist from New York, a lot of times they struggle.
Yep.
You know, they may know Angie Rose. They may know a guy like Gage if they've been in this for a while, or Richie Righteous.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But I'm like, man, New York should be consistently, every year, adding new artists into the conversation.
Yes, sir.
You know, so I'm working on some stuff right now where we're just kind of trying to figure out how to lend support to helping, you know, local artists from New York and New Jersey.
Yes, sir.
Really get some exposure and development, because there's a lot of talent in this part of the country. I mean,
Yep.
you know it.
Yep.
You know, it's a lot of talent.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to figure some of that stuff out, man, and just, you know, man, see what the Lord does with it, bro.
Awesome, man, awesome. Well, look, once again, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to go ahead and conduct this interview with me on the show, man. Look, DJ Wado, man, it's an honor. It's a privilege, man. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm watching you. So is the rest of the world. And we're learning from you and we're growing from you, man. And nothing but peace, blessings, and love for you, man. Thanks once more for doing this interview.
Man, thank you so much for having me, bro. And again, man, I'm so encouraged by what you're doing.
Thank you.
You know, what you're using this platform for, and, you know, your mission and everything, bro. Like, it's important. Like, we need more men, particularly black men,
Yes, sir.
who are saying, yo, I need to give back to the next generation. I need to help the next generation of people. I need to encourage people to be mentors and be mentored. You know what I mean? So,
Yes, sir.
props to you, bro.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Excuse me, sir. Go ahead and give us your social media so my audience can follow you. Make sure you know, give us your website, give us your email, YouTube, whatever it is you want to give us, man, so that everybody else can make sure they follow the DJ Wado. I'm gonna call it a movement, man, because you're doing big things.
Yeah. So WadoRadio.com is kind of the hub for everything: podcast, new music, interviews, all of that stuff. WadeoRadio.com. And then social media, same thing. Wado Radio. That's kind of the space. So
Yes, sir.
I think we're probably most active on Twitter, but we definitely do Instagram and Facebook as well. And, you know, obviously YouTube. You know, we post a lot of content there. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
you know, that's what it is.
Yes, sir. Hey, that's the interview with DJ Wado of the Wado Radio Show, man. Y'all make sure you check out WadoRadio.com so you can learn everything about DJ Wado and the Wado Radio movement. Look, this is the Keep Pushing Journey of Faith show where men mentor men, the best mentor radio show on the planet. Let's get back to some music. Yeah, yo.